On my last video, I covered how Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 can fix its cheesy game mechanics. But there is something just as important as taking away and fixing old mechanics, and that is adding new mechanics that are not only balanced, but fun. So in today's video, we're going to talk about every game mechanic I think Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 could and should add. In my previous video talking about how Xenoverse 3 can implement a potential android race, I said that similar to how when you use the Ultra Instinct skill that you can charge naturally just by using your guard and triangle, that should be a universal thing. You should not be forced to equip a charge. Like, that's stupid. Bro, let us charge naturally. So, while skills like Divinity Unleashed, Ultimate Charge, Burst Charge, like, yes, they can stay as actual skills because they have an actual special function. But skills like Full Power Charge, Energy Charge, like, take those out the game, bro. Charging should be a natural thing our characters can do. And again, the way to charge your keys should be guarding and triangle. And as you already know, the way to grab is guarding and circle. So we have 2 more buttons to play with to add 2 more mechanics. And while key blast canceling itself is a really poorly designed mechanic in Xenoverse 2, the fact that we do need more defensive mechanics is true. So I'm going to try to add some. The first defensive mechanic I really want in Xenoverse 3, solely because I think it's just cool, bro, is the Sonic Sway. Like, dude, I'm trying to like, bro, this is fire, bro. I think the buttons to do the Sonic Sway should be the guard button and the square button. Now, in the Sparking / Budokai Tenkaichi games, the Sonic Sway was more of a counter. But I think we should go the route that the Raging Blast series went, where the Sonic Sway is an active manual dodge. Now, the first reason is because in the Sparking series, when you get done doing a Sonic Sway, you're forced to knock your opponent away, and I feel like we should have options of how we want to counter our opponents when we get done dodging them. And the second reason is because it's way cooler to be manually going It's way cooler. I'm telling you, if you have not played Raging Blast 2, it is way cooler to be like manually weaving the attacks. I'm pretty sure it even vibrates your controller too. Bro, it's an incredible feeling, dude. Pause. Whoa, that sounds crazy. A function of the Sonic Sway is that every time you dodge your opponent, it takes away their ki. Now, for the Xenoverse 3 Sonic Sway, I think it would make more sense if it took away your stamina, and I also think that would make the mechanic just way stronger. Not too much stamina. I think every dodge should only take away like half a bar. Or maybe the more you dodge, the more stamina it takes. So maybe dodge number 1 will only take a little bit of stamina, but dodge number 4 will take an entire bar of stamina. Now imagine someone's coming at you in Xenoverse 3, mad aggressive, mad brainless, and you break their stamina after dodging their attacks. You're gonna have them looking like Zoro, wheezing, out of air, in need of an inhaler, the Wheeze Demon. I don't even watch One Piece, I just love good slander. And after every dodge, you can choose to do a dash, a block, or some type of attack. But like Raging Blast 2, I think you should be limited to only 4 consecutive Sonic Sway counters. But if you do choose to do a basic attack after the 4th dodge, I could see the game giving you some type of special counterattack, similar to Supreme Fury. But instead of breaking their stamina, it'll just leave them open for another attack. And again, this mechanic will have actual balance to it. If you just throw out your Sonic Sway without actually dodging an attack, you will have end lag and you can get punished. And while gameplay mechanic balance is very important, there's something that's also very important on this channel, and that is sauce. I need some characters to have really unique Sonic Sway animations, you know what I'm saying? Give Goku the martial arts, you know what I'm saying? Give Vegito the kicks, you know what I'm saying? Give Broly the arms cross, the dodging, the swaying. Please, I need W Sonic Sway dodging animations, please. Another mechanic I think we should add is the smash counter. But I don't want to just rip this straight from Raging Blast 2. I really want to upgrade this mechanic to make it fit Xenoverse. I want the smash counter to be a defensive mechanic / animation cancel, so basically something to replace key blast canceling. The button input for it could be guarding and pressing the X button, and similar to Raging Blast 2, whenever you use the smash counter, you enter a counter stance. Before, whenever you got a successful smash counter, you kind of just knocked your opponent away, but for a Xenoverse 3, I want to change that. If you use the smash counter on someone that's in front of you, I think it should stun them, kind of similar to Godbreaker. But after the stun, you can choose how to follow up. So you can either use a basic attack, a super attack, a grab, anything you want. But if the smash counter is used on someone behind you, you should just vanish behind them. So pretty much a free Z vanish. And again, you can choose however you want to follow up. So you can do a basic attack or anything else. But triggering a smash counter from behind does not stun your opponent, so your opponent can either hit you with a back hit, or they can do their own smash counter. And then you two can just keep on doing it for some type of pseudo Goku versus Cell Vanish War. But unlike the Vanish Wars of Raging Blast or Sparking Zero that are kind of forced upon you unless you decide to take the hit, with this you have options. You can either do the Vanish War, you can do a back hit, you can reset neutral. And having options is good because it not only makes the gameplay feel refreshing, but it also stops 80% of the gameplay being this. I looked up high level Sparking Zero gameplay and it's this, bro. This is fun, but too much of it, and again, it usually becomes way too much of it gets really stale. And the big difference between this as a defensive option versus something like Ki Blast canceling is that it has actual balance to it. With Ki Blast canceling, you can kind of throw it out like a brain dead idiot and you're still guaranteed to get some benefit from it. You're pretty much guaranteed some type of safety by moving into your iframe dash immediately. And the Ki Blast you throw out will negate the usefulness of physical and Ki Blast counters. But with the Smash Guard and Reflect from fighters, there's a balance to it. If you throw it out and miss, you can get punished for that. So you actually have to use your brain and time it, because if you just throw it out like an idiot, you can get punished for it. Something else I really want to see in Xenoverse 3 that I think is really important is actual grab tech. There's a really big problem with people just grab spamming you, and while part of that is really due to the really bad netcode, which is another reason why we really do need Xenoverse 3, I still do think Xenoverse should make it easier to tech out of grabs. For those of you who don't know, teching out of a grab is basically just you using a grab at the same time so it techs out and cancels. Now, Xenoverse kinda has this, but you have to use it at literally the exact same time, while in other games, just the startup animation of your grab will allow you to tech. And I think that would be a great change to decrease the amount of grab spam in Xenoverse. Now, this has less to do with actual game mechanics, but I really do want them to add this, and I want them to add different clash animations. And not just replacing the regular clash animation that we've been seeing for like 10 years now. If two people grab each other, give us the cool clenched fist like Dragon Ball power-up clash. Like, that would be really cool. That happens so much in the show. I want that to be in the game. There could be a special clashing animation if you both use a charged heavy attack. And a unique animation if you do a burst dash clash. And yes, this is all really just visual, but this will really help spice up the game, bro. Another change I want to see is a change to the burst dash and the reverse burst dash. And I am not going to continue to say that, so I'm going to abbreviate that to BD and RBD. Now, some of you may have forgotten, but this wasn't even in Xenoverse 1. They added this to Xenoverse 2, and this is definitely a callback to Sparking and to Raging Blast with their Burst Dash, or I'm pretty sure in those games it was called the Super Dash. But for some reason, when Xenoverse took this mechanic, they didn't take it in its entirety. They left out like a lot of things that made the mechanic way better. One of those things is the control you have while doing your Burst Dash. In those games, you could go up, you could go down, you can even kind of swirl around when you advance towards your opponent. And when you did the reverse, it would smoothly transition into you going around your opponent. While in Xenoverse, your character kind of has this awkward pause before they start to go around. Another thing I really want is the ability to kind of charge up our punch while we're dashing at them. That just looks sick, and of course it would also be a guard breaking attack. Another change I want is that instead of knocking our opponents away, I think we should just be able to continue the combo after using a burst dash or reverse burst dash. Now, those were the buffs I want to make burst dash funner and overall just a better mechanic, but we also have to talk about the nerfs that need to happen too. The first change is that we need to take away the iframes of burst dash, which I feel like this is Xenoverse's biggest problem. They just slap on iframes to different types of moves, and that does not work for good gameplay. Or I guess a better way to say it is that it doesn't make for good game design. Another change I think they should do is changing how BD and RBD take stamina. For some reason, BD takes no stamina while RBD takes an entire bar. Burst dashing is basically just an enhanced version of your normal flight, and your normal flight doesn't take up that much stamina. So I think an easy fix, and I think this also just makes sense too, is that the burst dash will just take up twice as much stamina as it would take to normally get there with your regular flight. Another addition I want to see, and this is something that no one really talks about, I want to see more stuff with ground combat. Turn ground dashes into backflips, into cartwheels. Enhance the jumping attacks for all the characters. They all need way more range, and also let us charge up the jumping attacks to break guards. It would also be super cool if on the ground, instead of flying, your character would do an actual sprint. I could also see the sprint not taking up stamina. And on my channel, I've talked about a potential Tournament of Power mode and how that could work in Xenoverse 3 with the no flying. A sprint button would help that mode feel so good, bro. I also just really like the idea of ground combat having its own different flair to it. Honestly, I really wish I could think of more ways to make ground combat different. Instead of the usual excuse of, oh, I wasn't even keyblade canceling, or I wasn't even using my best super throw, or I wasn't even using XY spam. Imagine you could say, hey bro, you beat my ass in the air, but on the ground, no flying? I'd cook you. Listen, that sounds way cooler as an excuse. And the idea of switching from aerial combat to ground combat just sounds like it would really spice up the game. And we need Xenoverse 2. We need beam deflects. Chat, I'm pretty sure I saw a video one time that said that beam deflects were actually supposed to be in the game. It's actually in the coding. I'm gonna play it on screen right now. Why do we not have this? Chat, when you perfect block a beam, this should be what happens. Because when you perfect block a beam now, 9 times out of 10, it won't even take away the stamina of the person who you just deflected, bro. Or I guess who you just perfect blocked. So give us the actual deflect. And Xenoverse, please fully take in the crash mechanic from Raging Blast. You can kind of sometimes randomly get hit on a wall and kind of be there. No, bro, just make it a full mechanic where we can push someone on the wall and then beat the hell out of them. But also take in the balance of the mechanic too. In Raging Blast, if you use a crash but try to use a super attack or an ultimate on the opponent while they're stunned, it will have heavily reduced damage, which is needed because people will literally just cheese you by grabbing you and then doing an ultimate, which will be the worst type of cheese ever. Don't do that. Keep the balance of it from Raging Blast. I wish I could pull more stuff from Sparking Zero specifically, but if I'm being honest, I feel like Raging Blast 2 is the perfected version of the old Sparking Budokai Tenkaichi games, because honestly, the Sparking Zero mechanics aren't as balanced or even as cool as the Raging Blast 2 ones. But Raging Blast 2 is not perfect. It has god-awful recovery, it still has that shitty wild sense after image tech, and instead of having GT characters, they said no, let's put in Cooler's Armored Squadron in Android 14 and 15. Who the f asked for these characters, bro? But Raging Blast 2's questionable roster aside, the last thing that I really want to see in Xenoverse 3 is the beam struggle. And first of all, I have to say this. Some of y'all be making up the worst, most dishonest arguments about why beam struggles would not work in Xenoverse 3. The first thing I hear is that because beam struggles are like mini cutscenes, that just wouldn't work in Xenoverse's style of combat, which is just completely untrue. Darkness Rush, that works. Beast Gohan's kick into the special beam cannon, that works. Orange Piccolo's ultimate also works. But the reason why this argument just makes no sense is because we have dual ultimates. Like, dual ultimates are the most cutscene thing ever, and they are in Xenoverse. Point number 2 that I hear a lot is that beam struggles would break up the flow of battle, which I also feel like is completely untrue. First of all, for 2 people to hit each other with a beam at the same time is so rare. That barely happens in Xenoverse. And I feel like because it's so rare, that would make it so much more special and fun. But again, these are just my opinions. This stuff sounds great in my head because it came from my head. So tell me what you guys think. But dude, the same way how when you do a regular clash, the game freezes for a second, registers that you two are hitting each other, and puts you inside the clash animation, do the same thing for beams and for ball attacks, bro. The game recognizes the attacks are clashing and puts you inside a beam struggle. But also, like burst limit, if you guys are too close, I really want the beams to just like explode in your face. That would be way cooler. And that is pretty much the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please tell me your guys' thoughts on things that you want to see added to Xenoverse 3. And I'm going to get started on the next video when I get done uploading this. I will catch you guys later. Keep doing your best because I'm going to keep doing my best too. God bless you guys. I'm going to see you later.